Mr. Payne, welcome.
Thank you very much.
I hope you're enjoying your stay in Morocco.
I'm very much enjoying my stay in Morocco. It's the first time that I've been here, and I will be back.
So this is your first time in Morocco, and for your first time you have been honored by distributing the film festival. How do you feel about that?
I was saying in a press conference just earlier, there's something mortifying about coming somewhere to have yourself celebrated, but at the same time it was a great excuse to come here, and it's really a lovely ceremony, a great celebration of film that they do here. It's a beautifully curated festival. The films, the filmmakers, and it has a great intimacy, and then it's got Morocco to offer, and I'm very drawn now. I went out to the souk the other day, and you know, we get very involved here with the festival, but now I'm addicted to the idea that I've got to come and explore this country.
You had a long career, both as an actor and as a director, with memorable performances. Is there a moment that you consider as a turning point in your career, in particular?
Well, I mean, yes, but it's the obvious. It has to do with very early, where I just had a very lucky moment in New York when I had been working as an actor, trying to work as an actor for a couple of years, when I was quite young, from 17 to say 20, in Los Angeles, and had no success with film. I was able to work on the stage in the theater, but not on film, and couldn't find an agent or any of those things. And I moved to New York with just a little bit of money and kind of gambled. And in 3 days, I ended up getting a lead in a Broadway show. And that really changed everything, because I was seen in that show, and from that I got a movie, and that led to, you know, the longer career. Of course, along the way there were ups and downs, but that would have been the big moment of change.
You're also known for your commitment to social causes. Do you think these experiences have influenced your approach to storytelling and art projects?
I suppose each thing in our lives influences the other, back and forth. For me, there's, you know, in some way it all boils down to expression, and which is meant to be a shared experience. And so, in some way I blend them. It's just the way life's gone. I like to use the phrase, as it turns out, this is what I do.
Yeah. Your roles are often deeply introspective and emotionally demanding. How do you choose projects that are worth your investment?
Usually it's director generated. Usually it's a director that I find has an exciting vision. With that, the screenplay. And it has to do also with where you are in time of life. And by time of life, it's not only those personal aspects, but the parts of it that are, you know, where if it's territory that you've already treaded, or if it's things that are going to expand you in some way or challenge you in a new way. One doesn't benefit too often by repeating, you know, a kind of character music. So, you know, each day brings its new surprise, and even over the course of a year, you can find that the kind of film you're interested in doing has changed from what the last film was, you know.
If you could pass one message to the next generation of actors and directors, what would it be?
Don't be careerists, be artists.
And with the advent of digital technologies such as AI and all in filmmaking, how do you envision the future of cinema?
Well, it's hard. That's obviously, it's something that's being pondered by a lot of better minds than mine. There are incredible tools in it. To date, very few of them apply to the sort of dreams that I have that would translate into cinema. But there are some of those tools that I've used and that I think there's great benefit to. We know that it's all about how we use them. Used well, we can make magic. used poorly, we can become sort of lazy cookie cutters of sort of phantom realities that don't do us much good.
I said that as an actor and a director, you have a unique perspective on how stories should be told. If there is a theme, a thematic, or a story you still wish to explore in your future project, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, well, one would hope that each filmmaker has a unique sense of how stories should be told, and that certainly there's not, there's one for each person, and then there's the way in which people implement that allows it to be a shared experience. In terms of going forward, I think that for me, not always, but as a general anchor, the idea of being increasingly clear of the times that we live in, and that whether one is doing something in the abstract, in comedy, in drama, a period piece or a contemporary piece, that it has some relevance, because I think movies can be, as a filmmaker once said, very big medicine. And so we should apply ourselves to understanding what ails us and where we can either help or comfort.
Let's talk about this role in particular in Daddio. You play a taxi driver engaged in a captivating conversation with Dakota Johnson's character, if I recall. So what drew you to this intimate dialogue, and was it the challenge of a story centered solely on conversation?
Yeah, I think the first thing was that this was a project that Dakota had brought to me, and I had known her for some time and liked her very much as an actress and a person. And so when I opened that script, I was hoping to like it. And I think that the discussion in it about the sort of sexual politics between men and women in the cultures, in all the cultures today, that one being the American culture, was very timely and excited me. And there was great heart in the story that Christy Hall wrote and directed.
The film heavily relies on the dynamic between your two characters. How did you work with Dakota Johnson to create such a palpable on-screen chemistry?
I think we trusted the chemistry we would have largely, and especially on the wings of that screenplay. Both of us had responded very strongly to the screenplay, and the director was a lovely director, really had a very gentle hand and guided us. So it was really very classic in the sense that there wasn't a lot of rehearsal. It was more, we were excited to be surprised by the dynamics that the screenplay would impose on us.
And the screenplay for the film explores some universal themes like vulnerability, loneliness, and human connection. How do these themes resonate with your own sensitivities as an artist and a person?
It's hard to articulate, but I certainly, would confess that I found it very familiar, and so again, that's it. That screenplay offered a lot of trust to the actors. Yeah.
In general, with the constantly evolving cinematic landscape, particularly with the rise of streaming platforms, how do you see the future of narrative cinema?
It's a good question, and I don't know the answer to it. I was saying before that one of the great things about this streaming thing is that it's truly internationalized film. Even 5 years ago in the United States, it would be, hard to conceive of a very well-seen, widely seen foreign film with subtitles. Today it's normal, even with Parasite, it wins the Academy Award and so on. And I think that makes it, that's an exciting aspect of it. There are other aspects of it. I'm sorry, I've got a cell phone vibrating in my pocket. There are other aspects of it that concern me. And also romantically, I fell in love with the big screen and being in that room with strangers, and there was more of a time of, let's say, event cinema, you know, where there would be, maybe 10 movies that you would never forget, and that you shared that memory with your whole generation. And now there's so much content there that one person I talked to described it as this gigantic library, but each audience stays in its own section. So I know there are actors or movies that are very famous that I would not know who they were because I'm not in that section of the library. You know, it's just a different business altogether.
And you are often oscillated between intimate, independent projects and larger scale mainstream productions. At this stage of your career, do you prefer the raw intensity of indie cinema or the expensive scope of big budget projects?
It doesn't matter to me how much money is being spent as long as it's being spent on a genuine dream. And you know, one person's vision costs X amount of money and another's. It's really that, for me, the films, if you know, as long as a film doesn't obey the law, that, you know, if you put 3 thoughts or more into it, it's no good. You got to break that law, and then I'm okay.
So that was all. Thank you for your time and for your answers. Maybe a last question. Did you see some of the films projected here in the festival?
Yeah, well, I did see I'm Still Here, Walter Salles movie, which I think is a great movie, yeah.
Mr. Penn, thank you a lot, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of your stay in Morocco. Thank you for your time and for your answer.